Alright, hello and welcome back to phpvideotutorials.com. This lesson is going to be totally radtastic. It's going to be a good lesson, honestly. We're going to look at routing, we're going to look at components, we're going to look at behaviors, and we're even going to look at layered programming or object-oriented programming. So it's going to be a pretty full-on lessiana. So put on your thinking caps and I'll meet you at the routing. Alrighty, let's take a look at routing. So all we do is fire up Windows Photo Gallery and check this out. So you can see here, I just see it as like a map which is routing to a destination. Okay, so hi, I'm a route, directions to a photo shoot, could be a nudie shoot, who knows what's going to go down. I map URLs to controller actions. Okay, we all know that every destination has more than one route. You can get to the bus stop different ways, you know what I mean? You can get to your shop different ways. So when you want to map out a better route, open me up. I can be found in config routes.php, and I come with default routes. Good idea to look at them to see how I work. Jesus, I can't even read. Alright, so let's take a look at the config routes.php file. So we'll just open him up, scroll downsies and take a look. So you can see there's some default routes already set, and you can see one of the default routes is just the /. Now that's just where your map goes, alright? So where you want to, what your URL is going to look like, alright, and what you want to map it to. So I always think of that as the map, and this is the destination where we're going to map to, alright. So if we come back in here, we can see that right now we're on that page. We've got the / there, and that's the root of our application, and we're getting this page. And we're getting that because it's mapping to the controller pages, which comes default with Cake PHP. It's for static pages, you can see it there, and it's linking to the action display inside there, and it's using the home view. So if we go into our views, we'll see another directory called pages, and we'll see home. Alright, so you can see that now we're going to there. So we're mapping to that location. Alright, right there. Alright, so let's look at the next default route. So next default route maps to pages, and then it's got a special little character in there, a little asterisk, and that's a wildcard. Alright, so anything after that / is going to be treated as a parameter. Alright, it's going to be passed on to the pages controller display action. Alright, so that's got a little bit of functionality in that action if you want to take a look at that. And that allows us to have static pages. So we can come up here and go pages, and we could say like test page here, and automatically take that parameter, alright, and turn that into a page for us. And we can just create that test page.ctp file inside the pages directory, and we have a static page for our website. That's handy for frequently asked questions pages and things like that. Another cool thing we can do is use the Wii remote to actually see this happening and get a feel for it. So all we do is pop into our project directory, and we can just throw in Cake console. Alright, and I'll just type in help to show you that this console has other tools, and the other tool is we can use is the routing. Okay, so we can just throw in a route. So we can say route, and we can say pages, we can say test page. We can actually see what this route or map destination is going to be. So we hit enter. You can see that if we follow this path here, this is what's going to happen. We're going to get a parameter sent, alright, test page. We're going to end up at controller pages and action display. Alright, so even if we throw in more on the end of this address here, so we throw on 23, we hit enter. You can see that now we're passing across 2 parameters. Alright, that's because of the wildcard character back in here. Alright, so that picks up everything and turns it into a parameter. Alright, and our last default route inside the routes.php file is the test route. Okay, so it just links to the controller test action index. We're not going to be doing any tests in this lesson or in this course, so there's no use in looking at all this stuff here. So let's come down here and let's just move forward and create our own route. So I'm just going to create a route that's going to map blog. We're going to map that to posts index. Alright, very simple. Now we can just come back up here into our application and type in blog, hit enter, and you'll see that we get all the posts back. So that in itself is awesome. And now what we want to do is click on view. Alright, But when we click on view, we still get posts. What if we want to change that a little bit? Well, Cake comes with some inbuilt elements we can use inside our mapping part of our route. And all we do is we can throw a / on there, a colon, okay? You can even create your own custom route elements. We're going to use an inbuilt element, which is action. All right, so it's going to collect every action. All right, we want to throw a / on there, and we also want to grab everything after the action so we can grab the parameters. So now if we come back in here, go backwards, click a refresh, and we look on here and we click on view, you'll see that we're actually still staying on blog and we're getting back our post. That's because Cake has two-way routing. The helpers are actually reading our routes, alright, as well. So our whole application is updated. Alright, so you can even find out more on here. I've got a few more examples down below there, and we're going to use routing a lot in this application, so it's going to be totally awesome as well. But what I want you to do is to go and read the manual on routes, very much so. It's a very important part of Cake, so yeah, I want you to read that. It's in the study guides directory. Next we're going to look at components, or components as they're pronounced in English. Alright, time to look at components. So let's take a look-see in the Windows Photo Gallery, and you'll see that I see components as a package of knowledge, alright, shared between our controllers. So there can be access control, there can be email, there can be cookies, all that logic that doesn't really fit inside the controller. Alright, because your controller's main objective is to basically pass the data onto your models. Alright, so, hi, I'm a component, package of knowledge. I'm a place where controllers can store knowledge for other controllers to use. A mix-in to keep your controllers lean. The controller chooses what components he needs for his actions. Controllers would have to reinvent the wheel without me. I can handle many mundane tasks. Security, sessions, emails, and more. It's very easy to make your own components for your controllers. Custom components live in controllers components, and we'll be doing that. We'll be making probably a couple of components and yeah, stuff like that. You can already see there's an example down below there, but that's for later lessons. So in this lesson, I'm just going to show you how we can include a component, and we'll do that right now. So right now when you add in a post, it's pretty lame what happens. So if we just do a test here, say test, and we just hit submit, you'll see that we just get this message here. We don't get redirected back or anything. It's just not very cool. It's not very user friendly. So we have to click that button to get back to our list. I will just point out that you do get redirected back if we weren't in development mode. There are different modes when you're producing your application. We'll talk about that a little later on in the practical course, but nonetheless you'll still get to see this ugly message here of a post save, and then you'll get redirected back, which is just lame. The posts, which is very annoying. So let's correct that using the session component and the redirect method of the controller. So to do that, all we do is open up our post controller and we just include the component. Okay, we're going to include the session component. Alright, so we just included that, so now we have access to that inside our controller. And we can access it very easily. So we'll just come down to the add action, and you can see here that that's that code that was getting run. It's just setting the post saved message to the screen, alright, and not redirecting us back. And that's just not cool. So let's just remove that out, just like that. And let's set up a message inside our session so that we can redirect back, collect that value, and display it to the user. Alright, so we can do this very easily. So let's say set session flash, and let's say post saved. Alright, and now what I want to do is I want to add in the redirect. So we'll say redirect back to index action. Alright, so I'm running this action or this method here off of the controller. Alright, and I'm running this method here off our session component. Alright, I'm going to set that value up, and then we're going to redirect back to the index action. Alright, so we'll come back in here and we'll say new post. And we'll say another test. This is the body. We'll come down here and we'll hit submit. You'll see now that we get redirected back with post saved, and we get back to the index action of that controller. Okay, so that is awesome right there. That is so cool that we can do that in such a little amount of code. We can even turn that into its own component and share that across our controllers, which we will do in the coming lessons when we get into the practical side. But as you can see, components just extend the functionality of your controllers, and there's lots of pre-made components that we can take advantage of. We'll be looking at a few of those throughout this course. Alright, so now it's time to look at behavior. So let's open up the Windows Photo Gallery and check it out. So I see a behavior as a merman. No, I see a behavior as a way to share knowledge again between your models. Alright, so they're basically the same as a component, except they're for models. So they're the functionality that doesn't actually belong to a model itself. So functionality like that might be taggable. Other models can be taggable. Alright, so that sort of functionality you could take out of your model and share between your models if you create a behavior, okay, for that. So you can see here we've got a taggable behavior which we'll be creating in this course. So that's pretty cool. So it allows you to share that with other models. Alright, so let's introduce you. Hi, I'm a behavior. Models can read me and act out my behavior. Models can even act out many behaviors at once. Think of me as a way to share knowledge between models. I'm a mix-in that adds extra functionality to your models. The model chooses the behavior he needs to interact with the data. Models would need to reinvent the wheel without me. Cake PHP comes with a few ready-made behaviors. The ACL, which is very handy, Containable, which is awesome, Translate, which is pretty cool as well, which I haven't used but I've looked at, and Tree, which is awesome as well. So it's very easy to make your own behaviors for your models. Custom behaviors live in models' behaviors. So they're just another way of sharing that mundane tasks with models. Okay, if you do it once, you don't want to repeat that code again in another model. You want to turn it into a behavior and reuse it, okay, throughout your application. That's the whole idea, keeping your application dry. Alright, and these allow you to really take advantage of that. I'm not going to show you any examples in this lesson of using a behavior because next lesson we're going to start on the full-on practical side, and we'll be using behaviors, creating our own behaviors, etc. Alright, so that's enough on behaviors for now. Let's move on to Cake and OOP. So just click next and we'll take a look-see. So you can see here I've created a little study guide on Cake and OOP. I've got Austin Powers' dad, I've got Austin Powers, I've got Mini-Me, I've got Mini-Mini-Me, I've got Mini-Mini-Mini-Me there. So they're going to do a lot of inheritance throughout this course. A lot of stuff that I don't see a lot of Cake people doing. So I'm gonna do that in this project. It's going to be exciting. So let's have a look here. Hi, I'm OOP, Layered Programming. I make layered applications possible. Cake PHP is layered. It begins at object. Most classes extend from it. So most classes in the Cake framework extend from object. Alright, there are a few loosies in there, but most extend from this guy right here. Never edit the core classes directly. That's a hard thing to say. That make up Cake PHP. Instead, you work in your application directory and extend the core functionality for your project's needs. So if we stop right there and go into our WAMP directory and we check out, this is our Cake installation directory. Okay, this is where the core lives inside here. So you never come in here and start editing these files inside the libs directory, because that is Cake in there. Alright, you don't want to go touching any of that. If we look down here, we can see that's the object, okay, class that pretty much all classes inherit from in Cake. Alright, so that's him right there. Alright, and if we come in here into the controller, we can see that there's the controller class. Alright, so this is Austin Powers right here. We open that up in eEditor, you'll see that he extends, okay, from object. Alright, and that makes sense in our diagram. Alright, so we don't want to go touching any of that. We don't want to touch anything inside here, unless you're doing some tests and you're fixing a bug or whatever you're doing. But other than that, you don't edit any of those files in there. Alright, so where are we up to? Here we go. You will find that most of the classes you write will extend from one of Cake PHP's core classes. Okay? The other classes will be third-party classes you can put in the project name, so whatever your project name, vendors directory. Cake PHP also follows many OOP design patterns, ideas. So just working in Cake PHP will make you a better, more efficient OOP programmer, and that is the truth. You'll learn new techniques, and there's some really well-written code in here. So you'll find out some really cool things. All right, so let's take a look-see. So app controller, all right. So app controller extends from controller, all right, and we can modify these, okay, because they're not in our core of our application, all right. These are our files to edit, so they're in our app name directory. You can find all this stuff. So if we go into our application here and we go into app controller, all right, you'll see that it extends from controller, all right. So it's extending from one of the core classes in Cake, and all this functionality in here, all right, look at all that, woo, all right, is available, all right, inside this class here, all right, or pretty much all that stuff, all right. There's other things called private properties and things like that, but all right, so let's just do a little bit of a example here just to get the people who don't understand this up to speed. So I'm just going to create a variable, all right, and this is a special variable called a property, all right, and it has a different scope than a normal variable inside a class. So we'll call this one message, and we'll just say hello world as the message. And what we can do now is, because we've declared it as a property, putting that var keyword in front of that variable name means that we can access this variable inside the class that extends app controller, all right. And the classes that extend app controller are our controller classes, like post controller. If we open up that, we can see that it extends app controller. So now we have access to this variable inside it, all right. This is the layering I'm talking about, all right. So we come into the index action, all right, and we say echo this message. And now we go to our browser and just do a refresh on the index action of posts. We'll see that we get that message, all right. So it inherited that property, okay, from this class, all right, because of that special keyword, all right. All right, so the chain can keep on going. So if we were in our post controller, and we've got all these actions inside here, and we're going to have other things that are going to share common actions of our post controller. We can even go as far as extending our post controller with other controllers, which we'll be doing in this lesson. So it's going to be a very interesting lesson, and by the end of it you'll probably have a very good understanding of object-oriented programming as well. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. There is another thing that I want to talk about now, and that is just the hierarchy of Cake, and we'll just have a little look-see and a bit of look over the API documentation. Alright, so in the last part of this lesson, let's just look over the inheritance list of Cake PHP. So go into the study guides directory and you'll find a HTML file in there, and just open that up. And what this is just a hierarchical view of how Cake is layered. Alright, so you can see here all these classes extend object, alright, so they inherit from object. You can see all those ones do, okay, these ones don't, alright. You can see there, and you can click on any of these and you'll go to the API docs just to have a look at what they do. So you can click on app and see what that class does, all right, and what it inherits from. But yeah, the API docs are really cool. They've just redone them using the new API generator, all right, for Cake, and it's really cool. Yeah. Beautiful API docs, so well done to the people and the team who done this. So to see the API docs, just put that into your address bar and bookmark it, and you can just click on the classes link there, and you can just look over all the classes and just get a feel for what functionality Cake has. But that hierarchical list here is very handy, okay, and I hope they add it back to the API docs. I'm pretty sure they will. It'd be cool if they just had another button here like they used to, where you click it and you get the hierarchical view of the classes instead of looking alphabetically. But yeah, that is totally rad that you've seen that now, and yeah, very cool. We'll be looking at the API docs as we build the application anyways, so I won't go into too much detail, but we'll also go back to the manual just quickly here. I just want to make a point here of of some stuff. So you can get help if I click on beginning with Cake. Pretty sure there's a help part in here. What is Cake? Where to get help? Alright, you really should look here and see the official website, of course, the book, what we're on right now, the bakery, which is just awesome. If we open that up in a new tab, you can have a look at how behaviors are made, different components, read articles. This is really a community site, so definitely come in here and have a look and get a feel for how components work, behaviors, helpers. It's just brilliant. So it's all community driven, this site, and it's just brilliant stuff. And if we come back here, we can see the API docs, which were just that. There's CakeForge, where other developers can have their host their Cake projects, and there's tests. Okay, so you can see all the test cases, and yeah, it's really cool. You can see the IRC channel where the guys are really friendly in there, so you can log on IRC and have a chat to them and get to know them if you like. I did that in the early days, maybe a year or so ago when I was first looking at Cake. I just had a bit of a chat to the guys in there. They were very helpful and very nice people, which is a really cool thing for people who have built something so good to not be full of themselves. You know what I mean? They're there to help you, and they're good people, so I really like them. Alright, so you can see here the Google group. Alright, you can go there and ask questions about Cake PHP and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's really cool. And of course our forum as well, forum.phpvideotutorials.com. You can come there, and I'm full on getting into Cake PHP, as you can probably tell, and a lot of the guys on there are. There's a handful of guys on there who are getting to be very talented Cake developers now, which is just awesome. Makes me get excited. And yeah, who knows what we're going to do together throughout this year. It's getting exciting on the forum, so make sure you stop off and check out our forum. Alright, I think that's it for this lesson. I want to make sure that you guys read all this stuff. I wish I could come over to your houses and get used to read it, have a whip behind you. And no, I'm only kidding. But it would be good if you did read all this stuff and you've answered all the questions along with these lessons, okay? If you're having any trouble, of course, come to the forum again. But this is the last lesson where it's going to be slow like this. The rest of the course is going to be pretty full on, and we're going to be coding very fast. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So can't wait to see you guys at the next lesson where we get our hands dirty, and yeah, the theory's over, time for practical. So thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you guys on the forums, on the blog, and in the next lesson. So I'll see you guys there. I got Austin Powers' dad, I got Austin Powers, I got Mini Me, I've got Mini Me, I've got Mini Me there. So